Runners are in the yards here, and we just had a look at Septimus. Unfortunately, I don't think we can show him again until I get down to the starting gate, but he's a much more rangy sort of a horse than the others that have come out from Europe in the past. A lot of them are very stallion-y. He's a lot leaner, a lot lighter looking horse, but he is the champion horse in Europe, as I said, by Sadler's Wells, out of a Darshan mare, and Aidan O'Brien just says he's just got such a better turn of foot. We've talked, of course, already about the wins that he's had in the last 6 months or so, placed in a Coronation Cup as well, and also a winner of a Dante Stakes back in May a couple of years ago. So he's been around a long time, and he seems to be the best of the Europeans going on their form.
And yet he hasn't been over-raced by any stretch, won 8 of 12. Look, he's got a great record. I still can't help but think that maybe he's still a little bit in the mould of a Yates, whether he's really got that dynamite turn of foot. But we'll find out. And Aidan O'Brien, and there he is on screen. That's Septimus, the horse who was all the rage for so long, and perhaps people have just gone a little cold on him in the last 48 hours with the support for Mad Rush. But he is rated the best stayer in Europe. He's on a time, form and international handicap rating. He's lengths above the other horses here. He's lengths above his fellow European runners. The man who trains him has won no fewer than 22 Group 1 races this year around the planet. So who am I to doubt him? Obviously, he's right in contention. And this would equal Aidan O'Brien's best year of 23 Group 1s in a year if Septimus was to win the Melbourne Cup. Number 2 is Master O'Reilly, by O'Reilly, out of a horse, a mare called Without Remorse. She's a half to West Australian Oaks winner, Unpretentious. Dan O'Brien, Vlad Jurek combining with this fella. Of course, last year he won the Winning Edge, then he went on and won the Caulfield Cup. He was 8th in the Melbourne Cup, raising the question of whether or not he can stay the 2 miles. This year, of course, he was 2nd in the Turnbull, 7th in the Caulfield Cup, and then he was 10th in the Cox Plate in that race that was so hard to make up ground. Well, he appeared to have every possible chance in last year's Melbourne Cup, and he was beaten 8.3 lengths into 8th place, and he rises a kilo and a half this year. So I think looking at it dispassionately, I'd be a little doubtful. His trainer, Danny O'Brien, says it's wrong to be dismissing him. He says he's had an entirely different preparation this time around, and we know he's certainly got the class to win a race of this stature. Number 3 is Honolulu, the second of the Aidan O'Brien runners for Coolmore. Colm O'Donoghue has the rides here, and this is a 5-year-old stallion by Montjeur, of course, a Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe winner, sire of Derby winners such as Authorised Motivator and Hurricane Run. He's sire of Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe winners as well. He's just been a super stallion overseas, and this horse was placed in the Ebor last year, placed in the Irish St Leger, in the English St Leger rather, last year as well, behind Lucano. That Ebor run was behind Purple Moon, who of course came out and was placed in the Melbourne Cup. This year he's won the Queen Alexandra over 4,344 metres, and then the Doncaster Cup was his last run, an easy winner over the 3,600 metres. Yes, he also has form around last year's Melbourne Cup place getter Marla, along with Purple Moon. As you touched on, he's got form at the marathon staying trips in the UK, 3,600 and beyond, 4,000 metres and beyond. Also, I believe his very best form has been on soft ground, and I wonder whether he's fast enough to win a Melbourne Cup at 3,200. I also wonder whether he might be the one that goes to the front. If he was mine, I think that's what I'd do, because I don't think he's got the turn of foot to give them a start and pick them up, but he might be able to run them into the ground. That's the situation with Honolulu and Colm O'Donoghue riding for Aidan O'Brien. Number 4, Sailor Girl by Shinko King, a Group 1 winner in Japan, sire of the Queensland Oaks winner Eskimo Queen, and Sailor Girl himself a half-to horse called Tardar that won up to 4,700 metres, and he's coming out of the Cox Plate. Of course, he won the New Zealand Derby on that bog track, but the Cox Plate, another horse, found it hard to make ground. He's now with Lloyd Williams and John Sadler, Brett Preble on board. And he bolted in that New Zealand Derby and beat the likes of Nom de Jeu pointlessly, but as much as I was bullish about him probably in the last 7 or 14 days, you can't help but think he probably wants the ground a bit easier, that he's going to find it here this afternoon. That Derby win was on soft ground. All his wins have been on soft ground. He's got a 2,100 metre placing on a fairly good to firm track, but it's got to be the little doubt with him, the state of the ground here. Number 5 is Nom de Jeu, 4-year-old stallion by Montjeur out of Prize Gem. She won the Celt Capital, the Group 1, plus the Brisbane Cup when it would still run over the 3,200 metres. We've talked about Montjeur before, the Sadler's Wells stallion. He was 4th in that New Zealand Derby. Not sure whether it was the track that made it so much easier for Sailor Girl to beat him. He won the AJC Derby, 2nd in the Queen Elizabeth at Randwick during the autumn there. And then he's come out and he's placed his 3 runs since then. The Stony Bridge, the Celt Capital behind Princess Cope, and the Caulfield Cup, where I thought his run was just
as good as Mad Rush?
I think that's fair comment. They were both terrific that day. There has been support for this horse on track. He's $8.50 into $8. That's number 5 nom de jeu here. He's around the $8.20 mark on the tote. Caulfield Cup form, 7 or 8 years out of 10 is the key form leading into this Melbourne Cup, and he's obviously a major contender.
Number 6, of course, Yellowstone, a controversial scratching, unfortunately, for Jane Chapel-Hyam yesterday. 7 is Zipping by Dane Hill. Of course, he's had some stayers. He's had a lot of sprinters, but horses like Dylan Thomas, who won a Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe Derby winners, such as Blackfriars, and he's a grandfather, of course, of the great Mackay Diva. Social Scene, the dam, is a half to Scorpion, who didn't quite get here last year, but was a champion stayer in Europe at 3. And he was second in the Cox Plate, probably the best of the run-on runs behind Maldivian.
He was good that day. This is his 3rd crack at the Cup. He's run 4th for the past 2 years from barriers 20 and barriers 19 respectively. I think that last year he probably made his run too soon. The year before he was ridden too close from the word go. I suspect they'll ride him cold from the outside gate this year. Can he win? Can he improve? Does he stay? All of these questions, I don't think anyone's really sure. We're going to find out in about 15 or 16 minutes time.
Just watching, I think that's number 14, Gallopin, really putting on a bit of a performance in the yard, so we'll keep an eye on him, and I think Boundless might have been getting a bit stirry too. But we're up to number 8, Mad Rush. Of course, he is the favourite for the Melbourne Cup. He's now just out to $6 here on course. He's a 5-year-old stallion by Lemon Drop Kid. There he is on screen with Francesca Kamani. He looks absolutely magnificent, very relaxed for a stallion, in great order in his coat too. Lemon Drop Kid won the Belmont Stakes. He's by King Mambo, the sire of Torquay, who won a Caulfield Cup. And the dam, she's had 6 winners, 6 foals that have all been winners, and she's by the great Sadler's Wells. And I think the other big thing about Mad Rush, Bart Cummings says that's his top selection, and he's usually spot on, Bart. He certainly picked Efficient last year.
Yes, well, you'd want to have him on your side, wouldn't you? And Luca Kamani is one of the great trainers in Europe. He came here last year, had a crack with Purple Moon, oh so close, running second. He's back again, taking the same path through the Caulfield Cup. His run there was terrific. It was interesting, Jane Chapel-Hyam having a dig at Damien Oliver's ride there and saying if it had been an English jockey, he would have been burned at the stake. And I must admit, I think she's probably got a point. I think it wasn't Dolly's greatest ride, but Mad Rush, everything looks right for him.
All right, number 9 is Ice Chariot by Semi Palatinsk. He's a sire of stayers like Just Now that won an Oaks, and Palacious, and Snow Chariot, the dam, won up to around 1,300 metres. And Snow Chariot is by a stallion called Chariot. A lot of people wouldn't know he's by Bletchingley out of Gelsomino. This horse won a Queensland Derby at 3. He's raced very well in Sydney earlier in the spring, and he hasn't been too far away. The Moonee Valley Cup and the McKinnon. Yeah,
career best form. He's just flying, Ice Chariot. You'd be a mug to say he's got no hope. Every time he's stepped out in recent weeks, he's run bravely, he's run well. He wasn't bad in the Caulfield Cup. He's a Derby winner. He did fail in this race 2 years ago, but he is a winner at the trip in lesser grade. He's 50-1 here on track, Ice Chariot.
Number 10 is Viewed by Scenic, this 5-year-old stallion. He's a sire of a number of Derby and Oaks winners, and Lovers Not, her dams by the great Sir Tristram. This is the family, the Heights family from New Zealand, Battle Heights, Gold Heights, Noble Heights. So he's certainly bred to get the distance. He won the Brisbane Cup, of course. That was on a wet track, and he probably would have liked the sting out of the ground. He's racing in the Dado Tanchinam colours. He was a winner of the Melbourne Cup with Think Big twice, and also Saintly in 1996.
Decent sort of a hope on a wet track, I would have thought. Bolter's Hope only under these conditions, trained by Bart, keeps him under notice. Didn't have any luck at all in the McKinnon. He's running the Caulfield Cup on an interrupted prep, was okay. So his prep's been reasonable. He's in some sort of form. 40-1 on track. I think I agree with you. Softer ground would have been his forte.
11 is Latorio by Bellotto, who was third in an English Derby, side My Brightier, an Oaks winner. The dam by Sente, now Centre Sear. She's a sister to a horse called Centinet, and a half to Seascape that won a couple of Nissan Stakes. Nigel Blackiston, of course, he was the foreman for Bart when Bart had Let's Elope win the Caulfield Melbourne Cups. He's been a bit of a bridesmaid, placed in the Victoria Derby, the Rosehill Guineas and the AJC Derby, but of course he really looked good winning the Turnbull 3 starts ago.
Well, placed in those 2 derbies, fair in the Caulfield Cup, 5th. Does he stay or does he not? I don't know. I suspect not, but he might be ridden a little quieter here today, and if he's safe for the late charge, you know, a la Rashi's Archie, he might get into the money, but he's not in my top half dozen or so. But, you know, I think that's the way everyone's starting to think. He was, you know, near favourite a few weeks ago, and now he's drifted out of contention. He's 30-1 on track today.
Number 12 is Bauer. He's a 6-year-old stallion by Horling, the second of Luca Kamani's runners. Horling is by the sire of All the Good, that won the Caulfield Cup in Diocese. Darley's Grey, the dam, she won at 22.50 metres, and this horse won the Chester Handicap, beating a very good horse called MacArthur that was meant to come out here for the spring and didn't in the end. And Bauer's big claim to fame, of course, was that win in the Geelong Cup. Moatees finished behind him, came out and won the sub. So
that form's okay. He's 20-1 on track, Bauer. He'd rate below most of the other Europeans on European form, but we've seen him here in the country. We know he's settled in. We know he's acclimatised. So he's definitely in the mix, Bauer, under the circumstances, I think, of the fact that he's here and he's done well.
Number 13 is Boundless by Van Nistelrooy, a Stormcat stallion out of Nothing Less. And this is, her dam is Limitless, who won the Brisbane Cup, the 2-miler. There we are, seeing these runners heading out on the track for the Melbourne Cup here. Boundless, of course, she won the New Zealand Oaks, second in the AJC Oaks, an easy kill first up at Tauranga, and then she was 11th in the Caulfield Cup. Didn't really get clear running.
No, it was probably excusable there at Caulfield. Runner-up in the AJC Oaks, I'm not sure about that form. She's a pretty handy mare. You've got to give us some sort of chance. It's that McKee-Childs combination again that we saw with Sunline, the mighty mare. Awkwardly drawn, I think would need a few breaks to go her way, but certainly not hopeless.
Number 14 is Gallopin. You can see it, well, we can see him just at the back of the frame there in the red colours, and he seems to have settled down a bit. He's still got his head in the air a little bit, but he was getting a very stirred up. That's him right in the centre of screen there with the red colours on. Of course, James Wink's on board for Dan O'Brien, just keeping him nice and calm as they head out. And he won 3 in a row in the summer, including the Bagot at Flemington over 2,500 metres, and Dan said basically the track beat him in the Metropolitan, and it was a really good win. I don't think I've ever seen a trainer so confident about a horse as he was before the Moonee Valley Gold Cup.
Well, he did win the race quite impressively. Narrow margin from Borghurst, but quite a space to the others. He's on an upward spiral. He hasn't had a lot of racing. Flemington suits, good track suits. Last start winner. You know, fairly big odds. I think I probably want to have him with me somewhere in a trifecta or a first 4 Gallopin. He's 30-1 on track, incidentally.
Number 15, Gyno by O'Reilly out of River Century. She was the New Zealand Broodmare of the Year, and he's a half to legs that won the New Zealand Oaks. Gyno, of course, he's last year's West Australian Derby winner. Been unlucky his last couple of runs, but you'd have to say he needs to improve.
Look, I don't think he's the worst. He's the one horse in the race that you know is not going to mind hearing his hooves rattle. He's done all his racing in WA. He didn't have a clear run at all in the Geelong Cup, and his run was pretty good under the circumstances. He's 150-1 on track, but, you know, look, I've thrown him in my trifectas, and there's some that I've left out. I don't think he's the worst.
16's out, 17 Newport by Costa de Lago. Of course, he's surprised with his win. He's a Brisbane Cup winner back in 07. He's surprised with that win first up at Newcastle. He's gone on and won the Metropolitan. Didn't get into the Caulfield Cup, but then came out, finished 5th in the Moonee Valley Cup. Doesn't
have one bad staying run on his CV. Simple as that. Hasn't been to this trip. You'd think he'd handle it. Paul Perry seems to be pleased with him. Run at Moonee Valley was okay. Meets Gallopin 2.5 kilos better. Is 50-1 out to 60-1 on track.
Number 18, Profound Beauty by Dane Hill. Of course, the great Dane Hill, grandfather of Mackay Diva. And this horse has had some good wins. The Challenge Stakes, the best of them at Leopardstown. Over 2,800. Dermot World says, look, she might be better next year. Glenn Boss says she's big and strong. She's got a great chance this year. Well, she's the other one in that category I mentioned earlier about I wouldn't be surprised if she blew them away. To look at the video of her winning that Challenge Cup, that was outstanding. And the horses behind her were pretty good. She doesn't mind this, you know, the better ground. She's with the man, the only European trainer to win the Cup, and on a form line through Pepper Tree Lane she beat Septimus. It's as simple as that. Number 19 is Red Lord by Redute's Choice for Anthony Cummings, and Nick Hall getting a run here. He's drawn a bit wide in 14. He was really strong. His couple of wins there at Rose Hill back through August, and then of course the bad track, the Metrop, didn't help him. 4th in the Coonji, 6th in the Moonee Valley Gold Cup. He's not a bad type. He's quite a lightly framed sort of a horse. I'm just not sure. 100-1 here on track.
just fair in the Moonee Valley Cup. Won the consolation race at 2,800 on Cup Day last year. As I mentioned, he's 100 to 1 on track. If he runs a place, Caroline, I won't get the trifecta.
Number 20 is VRC. This is a mare by Kayasi, a French mare for Richard Gibson, owned by Rick Jamison, better known as Harry the Hirer. He won the English-Irish Derby, Kayasi. This horse's last win was back at Longchamp over 3,100 metres in September of last year, and he was well back at Deauville in the race that Mad Rush was placed in.
Yes, if she runs a place, I won't get the trifecta either. Look, the best of her form 12, 14 months ago would have had her competitor, but it's just a little hard to come in on recent efforts.
21 Prize Lady by a Breeders' Cup Turf winner in Prize, out of a Penvale Lady who won 8 races, and this horse was the winner of course, of 2 Auckland Cups, and that's her big claim to fame. She can get the distance.
Recent years, that New Zealand Auckland Cup form hasn't been good enough, but she did run in the Celt, and she ran 6th there and wasn't too far off them, so she's she's not the out-and-out complete slow Kiwi star. She's got a little bit of class about her, proven at the trip. Number of gear changes today, which struck me as a little bit odd coming into a Melbourne Cup, but she'll run the trip.
Number 22, Alessandro Volta, third of the Aidan O'Brien runners by Montjeu, this 4-year-old. Aidan says, look, he is better than Marla last year, who wound up in the placings.
And he's run well in the English and Irish derbies. He's big odds here on track, but he might be the European at the big odds that could blow you away.
We've spoken quite a bit about Barbaricus, number 23 for Dan O'Brien. Stephen Baster by Lion Hunter. Of course, he's run those great runs. Caulfield Cup, McKinnon Stakes.
Well, he's got the obvious form. Look, he's pretty... I didn't actually put him on top, but he's pretty close to my top pick, Barbaricus.
And Moatees, of course, he's really gone through the grades to win the Saab quality, the Group 3 last time out. He's with the master trainer, Bart Cummings. Claire Lindop in form, riding the winner of the Derby in Rebel Raider on Saturday, and he finally overturned that real bridesmaid status he's had with that win in the Saab.
Well, how can you ignore a Saab winner trained by Bart with 50 kilos? So, you've got to entertain him to some degree, Moatees. That's number 24. That's the last of the Cup runners. 22 to face the starter with the 2 scratchings on track. Profound Beauty's out to $8.50 from 7. Septimus $7.50. Nom de Jure well backed, $8.50 into $7.50. Mad Rush $6 into $5.50. And we have 2 market movers in the Melbourne Cup. They're Nom de Jure and Mad Rush. They're the ones they've come for.
Well, they both look great. We didn't get a good look at Nom de Jure. We'll see if we are able to pick him up behind the gates. We'll get to some of these shots because we haven't had much of a look at them. Once we've seen the totes and Mad Rush, I tell you what, he looked absolutely sensational, so relaxed heading out. He's a stallion. A lot of these European horses are stallions, and I think what's really added to the Melbourne Cup this year and the past few years is the lead up. We know what happens with the preparation of these international horses. I think in the past, the lead up with the Australian horses, we don't see behind the scenes that much. This has been a lead up that's been going on really for 12 months. The Luca Kamanis, the Aidan O'Briens, and we've watched all the way through to this moment.
Well, there's a thought, isn't it? Perhaps all the local contenders have got to be trained from the same venue. We'll have a look at them in their lead-ups too. Look, I don't care what anyone says. 15 years ago, the Melbourne Cup was on its deathbed. Horses were going to Japan for the Japan Cup, not even bothering to run here. It was falling away. It was a weak handicappers race. Now it's becoming a classy race. It's a handicap, that almost has the hallmarks of the best of our weight for age and set weights races. It's producing the best horses, not only here, but from the Northern Hemisphere to come and have a crack. So there's, it's a classy race these days, the Melbourne Cup. And I tell you, years ago, it didn't used to be. No,
I think ever since Kingston Rule, really, Secretariat out of a Horse of the Year, Rose of Kingston, from then on, we've really seen an upgrade in the quality of these sorts of horses. Now, they've backed Septimus now late on track. They bet as much as $7.50. That's been taken. It's into $7, number 1 Septimus. So, and also a nibble for Master O'Reilly at big odds. 30 to 1 into 25 to 1. Nom de Jure backed. Mad Rush backed. There's the action from the ring with just a couple of minutes to go before the Melbourne Cup of 2008. I was going to say, of course, the Coolmore crew, they've already had a winner here today with Hips Don't Lie, but there is actually $21 million in the win pool, so I'm not sure that them on course that they're really making that much of a difference with Septimus. No, it's huge money, isn't it? And imagine all the money bet through quaddies and trifectas and the multiples. Have it all. There's the totes on screen. So what's that? 38 plus 12, and we've got $50-odd million just in the win and place pool. The win pool, in fact, around the country. So huge money on the Melbourne Cup, as there is every year. $88 for Gyno on the tote if he happened to win his bigger odds here on track. Profound Beauty, they can't lay it on track.
They're nearly ready. Bauer's gone in. Honolulu completed it. The Cup field is set.
in you?
I do make a habit of winning this race. Someone told me, and I said, well, it's a good habit to get into, I said.
Master trainer Bart Cummings wins his 12th Melbourne Cup with Viewed taking out the big race. Bart Cummings is celebrating his 12th Melbourne Cup win with Viewed surprising plenty by taking out the $5.5 million race in one of the closest finishes in history.
Viewed, a $40 outsider, edged out Bauer in a photo finish to deliver 80-year-old Cummings another Cup victory 43 years after his first Cup win.
Melbourne turned on its most picturesque day for more than 100,000 racegoers. Nobody revels at Flemington like Bart Cummings. Punters went hard for the foreign raiders, making Mad Rush the favourite and trusting the runner-up of the past 2 years with their cash. But many went for sentimental value.
Looking to create more history this afternoon on Bart Cummings' lower tee is clear enough.
Could they repel the overseas raiders? The nation stopped to find out. Wild Irish colt Alessandro Volta set a blistering pace. The field struggled to settle. Into the straight, Bart's other starter, Viewed, came from out of sight. Photo confirmed the narrowest possible victory, the first for 21-year-old Sydney-based jockey Blake Shin.
Just speechless. I'm going to cry. My family at home. My stepdaddy got me to where I am today. Just sort of waited till I knew, and then I just tried to soak it up as best I could.
This win doesn't make Bart Cummings the greatest trainer in Melbourne Cup history because he already was.
After Bart's dozen, the 80-year-old Cup genius tried to hold back tears.
It's nice to win a race like this, you know. It's a race that everyone in Australia likes to win.
Is it emotional for you, Bart?
Not really, it just happens to be a nice win, that's all.
He was slightly more revealing in the victory ceremony.
I do make a habit of winning this race. Someone told me, and I said, well, it's a good habit to get into, I said.
A habit he vowed to continue. Viewed owner and Bart's four-time Cup-winning partner, Malaysian billionaire Dato Shin Nam, will appreciate that.
To every one of you, happy punting. Bye.
Sadly, most of us were doing this.
Is zipping, followed in by Mad Rush and Newport, then Nom de Jeu, Varave, Gyno, Boundless, followed by Red Lord, Laturio, Ice Chariot, Septimus tied very badly. He's back there with Prize Lady Barbaricus, Alessandra Volta, and Honolulu has just walked over the line. It's a photo finish. Stand by for the number.
Is it Viewed or is it Bauer? Viewed the inside, Bauer making a great run on the outside. Looked as if Bart was going to win his 12th Melbourne Cup. He may well have. The cameraman seems to think it is Bauer on the outside for Luca Kamani, but we just have to wait and see on that photo. We've seen some of those races early in the day where the inside has just been pit by the outside. We'll have a look at who has the head down. This is going to be the thing. The bob looks like it is Viewed that has won the Melbourne Cup on the inside. We'll just have to wait on the judge, but it looks that way. Viewed has won the Melbourne Cup. 250th Group 1 win for Bart Cummings. Dato Tan Shinnan, that's his 4th Melbourne Cup. And what a great performance by Viewed. The Brisbane Cup winner, Blake Shin on board, just outlasting Bauer on the outside.
Extraordinary result. 12 Melbourne Cups for the master, Bart Cummings. What a result. And Blake Shin, he's had lots of bad luck this spring, missed out some feature days. He wins the Melbourne Cup for the master, Bart Cummings. 10, 12 and 4 are the numbers. 10, 12 and 4 to the Melbourne Cup. $46.50 on the tote. He was 40 to 1 on track. What an extraordinary result for Bart Cummings. 10, 12 and 4. Officially 4th was number 2, Master O'Reilly. 5th was 18, Profound Beauty. And 6th was Bart's other runner, Moa Tees. So there are the numbers on the Melbourne Cup. 10, 12, 4, 2. 2, then 18, then 24. And Viewed, he went to the front a long way from home. Bauer peeled from the pack. Master O'Reilly made ground inside. Profound Beauty loomed, couldn't quite finish it off. And the others into the finish. Sailor Gur, of course, running on strongly and perhaps might have been the winner on softer ground. But Viewed, another horse considered a soft tracker, was able to win here this afternoon. So there the Melbourne Cup numbers for 2008, 10, 12, 4 and 2. 10, 12, 4 and 2 to the Melbourne Cup. Well, isn't he just a freak, Bart Cummings?
He is, as I said, the 250th Group 1 win, of course, his 12th Melbourne Cup. Dato Tanchin, what a record he has.
And let's spare a thought for Luca Kamani too. Second for the second year running. Bauer this year, Purple Moon last year. I bet he'll be back, but I bet he'll be very disappointed.
And Blake Shin as well, of course, riding for Gay Waterhouse up there in Sydney, linking up with Bart Cummings to take out this race. This horse was bought by Duncan Ramage out of a paddock as a yearling, and he's done a great job at selecting this horse to go on and win the Melbourne Cup. Of course, also saintly in those colours, winning, and think big, winning 2 of them in the past in the 70s for Dato Tanchin and the owner. Let's have a look at the full replay of the Emirates Melbourne Cup.
And they're off. Mad Rush jumped well on the inside, and so did Sailor Gear. Master O'Reilly, Gyno dropped in. Nom de Jure seemed to get away okay. Viewed handy too. Septimus is going up with Red Lord. Prize Lady is coming over quickly. Boundless is up on the speed. Varave coming over. Moatees trying to slot in. Laturio went right back towards the end in company with Newport. Honolulu still on a wide run. Right behind him is Alessandra Volta. Sorting out their order now. They stretch across the track. And here it's Septimus with a narrow lead with Boundless on his outside. Barbaricus on the rail. Varave in the black colours is up there. Deeper is Honolulu. Alessandra Volta is still staying out about 6 wide down the straight. Moatees, Prize Lady in behind the leading bunch, and they're followed 2 lengths away by Viewed. Profound Lady in on the fence. 1 further back is Red Lord. About 3 Master O'Reilly. 1 Gallop at a length and a half Bauer. Nom de Jure getting up on the inside, being followed 2 lengths away to Mad Rush, Sailor Gear, and zipping the stablemates racing hand into one another, followed by Newport, Gyno, Laturio and Ice Chariot on the rail last of all. As they went out towards the riverside now, and Alessandra Volta takes over the running, and he leads by 2 lengths to Septimus. A length away Honolulu. They're going to ensure a very strong gallop in the Melbourne Cup. They're 4 lengths in advance of Boundless, who's moved up into 4th placing on the outside of Barbaricus. 2 lengths then to Varave, a length and a half to Moatize. Prize Lady a length to Viewed. Then came Profound Beauty, and 2 lengths away Master O'Reilly, Red Lord. A length further back is Nom de Jure. A length and a half to Gallopin, followed by Mad Rush and Bauer. 1 further back Sailor Gear, and then zipping in Newport, Gyno, Ice Chariot and Laturio as last of all. Alessandra Volta takes them out to the 1400, and he leads by 2 lengths. Septimus second on the inside, Honolulu on the outside, and they're about 6 lengths in front now. From Boundless 4th, and then Barbaricus a length away 5th. A length and a half to Moatees. Varave on the inside, 2 lengths away. Then came back on the inside Prize Lady as they go down the side, and then came Viewed on the outside. Past the 1200 metres, 2 lengths, Profound Lady. She's being followed by Profound Beauty, and then Master O'Reilly, Red Lord, Nom de Jure, 2 lengths to Gallop, and Mad Rush a long way back. So is Bauer and Sailor Gear. Behind them are Newport and zipping, and then Gyno, Ice Chariot and Laturio last. They're up towards the turn. Alessandra Volta had the lead, 2 lengths to Septimus, 2 lengths to Honolulu. Boundless running on, got up into 4th, followed by Moatees running on the outside. Barbaricus under pressure, Viewed coming with a run. Profound Beauty getting to the outside from Varave, and then Red Lord and Gyno as they sweep to the turn. Honolulu dropped out right out quickly, and Septimus has the lead. Boundless is coming after him. Alessandra Volta's beaten off. Viewed running on. Profound Beauty and Gyno down the outside. Moatees putting in his run. Boundless hit the lead at the 400 metres. Viewed dashed to the front now. Viewed raced away from them from Moatees. Here's Profound Beauty running home. Bauer's coming down the outside, and Sailor Gear. Viewed is clear though. 200 metres to go. Bauer ran to second. Sailor Gear coming home hard. Viewed in front. Bauer's a big danger. Viewed by a neck. Bauer's getting there. Viewed holding on. Bauer dives. Viewed a nose to Bauer, I think. 2 lengths away, Sailor Gear might have got the 3rd from Master O'Reilly. Photos all round. Then Profound Beauty and Moatees. Further back in the field is Zipping, followed in by Mad Rush and Newport. Then Nom de Jure, Varave, Gyno, Boundless, followed by Red Lord, Laturio, Ice Chariot. Septimus tied very badly. He's back there with Prize Lady Barbaricus, Alessandra Volta, and Honolulu has just walked over the line. It's a photo finish. Stand by for the number.
Great result for Bart Cummings. Blake Shin there, he's come back to scale with his fist raised. There are the totes for you. $41 in New South Wales and $12 the play. $6.90 Bauer, $8.10 for Sailor Girl. And that is the way they finished in the 2008 Melbourne Cup. Bart originally had said, spot the Aussie this year. And then when it looked as if they might have been talking about watering the track, in the end, because of Viewed, he actually said, well, maybe we should do what the Irish want. They didn't need to in the end because Viewed was good enough to win.
Well, there's some massive dividends. Good luck to you if you've got some of them. Trifecta here in Victoria, 22,000. The first four, best part of 600,000, 589. My eyesight's not that good. Similar trifectas around the country. First fours, all massive, 400,000, 530 on Unitab. Huge dividends. Good luck to you if you've got some percentage of it. And you're celebrating now. Exacta 1,156 and the Quinella 553 there on Supertab. $46.50 the winner and $14. It was 40 to 1 here on track, and as it turned out, well, the internationals didn't dominate. Bauer was good for Luca Kamani. Mad Rush, the stablemate, ran 7th. Aidan O'Brien's trio all dropped right out of the race. Maybe the ground was too firm, but they were very disappointing. They were all gone probably by straightening. Septimus, of course, Alessandra Volto and Honolulu, so they didn't come and plunder. They couldn't beat the master, Bart Cummings.
Exactly. Amazing the way they dropped out of that race, and they really put the pace on. The question down the back was, would the Aussies wait long enough, or the Kiwis to catch the 3 Aidan O'Brien runners and the Mad Rushes and all those horses, or would they fold completely? In the end, they folded completely. So that is a real learning experience and terribly disappointing for Aidan O'Brien and the Coolmore connection, as we see a beaming Blake Shin being interviewed here. And we'll bring you all the interviews from Melbourne Cup Day, in particular, of course, the connections of Viewed in trackside today coming up after the final race. Bart Cummings, he is emotional here. He was asked through the week if it still meant a lot to win the Melbourne Cup. Well, of course it does. The years of preparation that goes into these horses, no matter who they are, where they are in the world, is enormous. And to get to this one moment as they cross the line, the thrill is absolutely incredible.
The margin officially a nose, and that's extraordinary. A nose by 2 lengths. The time 3:20.4, which is steady for a Melbourne Cup, but not dynamite. Of course, the record Kingston Rule 3:16.3. Media Puzzle ran 3:16.9. So despite the fact that the tempo looked pretty strong, they haven't run exceptionally fast time. They've run genuine time, and Bart Cummings Viewed. Well, it's extraordinary, isn't it? He missed a run. He went to the Caulfield Cup short of a hit out. He came to the McKinnon, didn't get a hit out because they just knocked him from pillar to post in the straight. And here he is stepping out on the Tuesday just 3 days later and taking the cup. And Blake Shin looks fairly pleased with himself.
He is indeed. And after he missed that run, I know Bart worked him 3 days over the following week, over the 2.
And they're off. Mad Rush jumped well on the inside, and so did Sailor Gear. Master O'Reilly, Gyno dropped in. Nom de Jure seemed to get away okay. Viewed handy too. Septimus is going up with Red Lord. Prize Lady is coming over quickly. Boundless is up on the speed. Varave coming over. Moatee's trying to slot in. Laturio went right back towards the end in company with Newport. Honolulu still on a wide run. Right behind him is Alessandra Volta. Sorting out their order now. They stretch across the track. And here it's Septimus with a narrow lead with Boundless on his outside. Barbaricus on the rail. Varave in the black colours is up there. Deeper is Honolulu. Alessandra Volta is still staying out about 6 wide down the straight. Moatee's Prize Lady in behind the leading bunch, and they're followed 2 lengths away by Viewed. Profound Lady in on the fence. 1 further back is Red Lord. About 3 Master O'Reilly. 1 Gallop at a length and a half Bauer. Nom de Jure getting up on the inside, being followed 2 lengths away to Mad Rush, Sailor Gear, and zipping the stablemates racing handy to one another, followed by Newport, Gyno, Laturio and Ice Chariot on the rail last of all. As they went out towards the riverside now, and Alessandra Volta takes over the running, and he leads by 2 lengths to Septimus. A length away Honolulu. They're going to ensure a very strong gallop in the Melbourne Cup. They're 4 lengths in advance of Boundless, who's moved up into 4th placing on the the outside of Barbaricus, 2 lengths then to Varavay, 1.5 lengths to Moatize, Prize Lady, 1 length to Viewed, then came Profound Beauty, and 2 lengths away Master O'Reilly, Red Lord, 1 length further back is Nom de Jour, 1.5 lengths to Gallopin, followed by Mad Rush and Bauer, 1 further back Sail de Guerre, and then Zipping in Newport, Gyno, Ice Chariot and Laturio as last of all. Alessandra Volta takes them out to the 1400 and he leads by 2 lengths. Septimus second on the inside, Honolulu on the outside, and they're about 6 lengths in front now. From Boundless fourth, and then Barbaricus 1 length away fifth, 1.5 lengths to Moatize, Varavay on the inside, 2 lengths away. Then came back on the inside Prize Lady as they go down the side, and then came Viewed on the outside. Past the 1200 metres, 2 lengths, Profound Lady. She's being followed by Profound Beauty, and then Master O'Reilly, Red Lord, Nom de Jour, 2 lengths to Gallop, and Mad Rush a long way back. So is Bauer and Sail de Guerre. Behind them in Newport and Zipping, and then Gyno, Ice Chariot and Laturio last. They're up towards the turn. Alessandra Volta had the lead, 2 lengths to Septimus, 2 lengths to Honolulu. Boundless running on, got up into fourth, followed by Moatize running on the outside. Barbaricus under pressure, Viewed coming with a run. Profound Beauty getting to the outside from Varavay, and then Red Lord and Gyno as they sweep to the turn. Honolulu dropped out right out quickly, and Septimus has the lead. Boundless is coming after him. Alessandra Volta's beaten off. Viewed running on. Profound Beauty and Gyno down the outside. Moatize putting in his run. Boundless hit the lead at the 400 metres. Viewed dashed to the front now. Viewed raced away from them from Moatize. Here's Profound Beauty running home. Bauer's coming down the outside, and Sail de Guerre. Viewed is clear though. 200 metres to go. Bauer ran to second. Sail de Guerre coming home hard. Viewed in front. Bauer's a big danger. Viewed by a neck. Bauer's getting there. Viewed holding on. Bauer dives. Viewed a nose to Bauer, I think. 2 lengths away, Sail de Guerre might have got the third from Master O'Reilly. Photos all round. Then Profound Beauty and Moatize. Further back in the field is Zipping, followed in by Mad Rush and Newport. Then Nom de Jour, Varavay, Gyno, Boundless, followed by Red Lord, Laturio, Ice Chariot. Septimus tied very badly. He's back there with Prize Lady, Barbaricus, Alessandra Volta, and Honolulu has just walked over the line. It's a photo finish. Stand by for the number.
Is it Viewed or is it Bauer? Viewed the inside, Bauer making a great run on the outside. Looked as if Bart was going to win his 12th Melbourne Cup. He may well have. The cameraman seems to think it is Bauer on the outside for Luca Kamani, but we just have to wait and see on that photo. We've seen some of those races early in the day where the inside has just been pit by the outside. We'll have a look at who has the head down. This is going to be the thing. The bob looks like it is Viewed that has won the Melbourne Cup on the inside. We'll just have to wait on the judge, but it looks that way. Viewed has won the Melbourne Cup. 250th Group 1 win for Bart Cummings. Dado Tanshinan, that's his 4th Melbourne Cup, and what a great performance by Viewed. The Brisbane Cup winner, Blake Shin on board, just outlasting Bauer on the outside.
Extraordinary result. 12 Melbourne Cups for the master Bart Cummings. What a result. And Blake Shin, he's had lots of bad luck this spring, missed out some feature days. He wins the Melbourne Cup for the master Bart Cummings. 10, 12 and 4 are the numbers. 10, 12 and 4 to the Melbourne Cup. $46.50 on the tote. He was 40 to 1 on track. What an extraordinary result for Bart Cummings. 10, 12 and 4. Officially 4th was number 2, Master O'Reilly. 5th was 18, Profound Beauty. And 6th was Bart's other runner, Moatize. So there are the numbers on the Melbourne Cup. 10, 12, 4, 2, then 18, then 24. And Viewed.
Well, special moment for Bart Cummings, but what a thrill this must be for the young Melburnian in Blake Shin. Tell us about it, Blake.
Oh, look, Bruce, it's just an unbelievable feeling. Words can't describe it. I've been last week seeing Nash win the Group 1s on our horses, and especially Northern Media was disappointing to win for Mr. Cummings. He's been a loyal supporter of mine throughout my career, and on my first big race on accumulating the St. Leger for him, and to win a milestone 250 Group 1s for him, it means a lot.
Can you savour that moment coming back to scale in front of this big crowd, Blake?
Oh, I tried to, Bruce. I tried to just lap it up as much as I could, and look, Reggie Fleming, it's unbelievable. I have a great association with him. He's a terrific friend of mine, and to win for him, and even the staff in Sydney, John Thompson, he's a terrific supporter of mine, and does a great job. So all credit to team effort, and I'm just very thrilled.
And through the run, were you happy? Panned out? Gee, you let go when you let him go.
Yeah, look, I was able to get one off the fence into a lovely position following Mr. Cummings' other runner, Moatize, and the tempo suited my horse because he was able to get in a good rhythm, which is important. At the 700 I was travelling that good, and one just come to my hindquarters, which I sensed, so I come out and give him daylight. He pulled his way to the front, and the way he travelled, I thought, well, trained by the master, he'd be fit, so I went home a tad early, but he was too good anyway.
Do you think you had the photo?
I thought Corey come quick about the 100, and I thought he was going to get me, but his horse probably peaked the last 100, and my horse, to his credit, stuck his head out where it counted. It's unbelievable.
Melbourne Cup winning jockey, well done.
Thank you.
And Bart Cummings, your 12th Melbourne Cup, very emotional. We'll get the photo taken first for the boys. Blake Shin and Bart Cummings, very emotional here, Bart. But Blake Shin is first, Bart is 12th. But you never doubted this horse. You'd had a setback going into the Cup.
Yeah, we missed a run prior to the Caulfield Cup, but the work in the meantime was caught up, no problem, and he's done very well the last week or so, and we had mistakes running. It was like a barrier trial. He had no decent run in the straight, and he's done a treat since, so we're happy.
You're playing catch-up a bit this campaign to get him to this day as fit as you wanted him?
Yeah, well, we had to change slightly to make up for lost time, but it just worked out in time.
And you are pretty emotional today, Bart. Tell us about your feelings now.
I get hay fever, that's all.
Hay fever, pretty bad, is it? Right. 250 Group 1s, how does that sit with you?
Well, it's getting a nice figure. We have to keep improving.
It's been a while since that last Melbourne Cup, but to get your 12th today and a truly international stage, you've felt, we've spoken a lot about taking on the internationals, but you've done it and you've beaten them on your home soil today.
It's the place to beat them, isn't it? Melbourne Cup Day.
Fantastic. Bart, well done.
Thanks very much.
Was a little brighter for the Melbourne Cup winner. The 5-year-old appeared relaxed and playful. The stallion strapper says his early morning enthusiasm is a clear sign he's unfazed by all the fuss.
But lucky view's got a nice long nose and it was just in front at the right time, so it was great, sensational.
The photo finish says it all. So too the reaction of master trainer Bart Cummings. Today his mood was subdued. After all, he's done this 11 times before. But even after 50 years of grooming Cup winners, Bart admits this one was special.
Just more satisfying, I suppose, but everything went very well.
Last night he celebrated with Viewed's owner, the pair complimenting each other on and off the track.
And when Irish eyes are smiling away.
Hours after the frivolity ended, the trainer had trouble remembering who rode the winning horse to victory.
Yeah, he rides good, the young lady.
Blake it is.
Yeah, it is. Blake, how are you?
He's just shy of 81, but the legendary racing figure has no plans to retire. Bart Cummings is already looking to Cup number 13 and beyond. He believes the best of Viewed is yet to come.
And when taking wickets, you don't retire, do you?
Erin Cassar, 10 News.
Meanwhile, for the jockey who rode Viewed to glory, it was back to business today. Blake Shin backing up after a night of celebrations for a serious sweat in the sauna to make his weight for Oaks Day.
200 metres to go. Bauer ran to second. Sailor Gear coming home hard. Viewed in front. Bauer's a big danger. Viewed by a neck. Bauer's getting there. Viewed holding on. Bauer dives. Viewed a nose to Bauer, I think. 2 lengths away. Sailor Gear might have got the third from Master O'Reilly. Photos all round.
From Redford, head away, Blackbird taking them back, but red-handed, still good. He's won the cup, I think. Right on, he comes in front. Think Bigger's picking it up down the outside, and Think Bigger's going to win the cup. Here he's running on well, but Think Bigger's in front, and Think Bigger's going to win it 2 years in succession. taking him back, but Golden Black hanging on to the lead, and it's the favourite cup. Golden Black, one of the high Burno's moving in. They go to the point together. High Burno if anything's Burner from now on. It's Kingston really again. Barney's 8. Kingston on the Burner. Next tonight was first away. Look, what's the song? Someone's to the rear. Next tonight folks to come in. Next right to the Phillips doesn't work again, and Stove over Safely. Safely wins it easily. From Count Shivers second. The Burno's better. Warrior and Rogan Josh and Central Park. Rogan Josh Park did it again. You boy at next. Bauer's getting there. You holding on. Bear the dive. You knows the Bauer right there.
It's a place to beat them, isn't it? Melbourne Cup Day.
Racing Review, TVN. In racing, it's not always easy to know who to trust. And when it comes to picking a winner, there's only one safe place to turn: Best Bets. Only Best Bets can be trusted to give you Australia's most accurate racing tips and form. Week in, week out. Get Australia's favourite racing guide, Best Bets. The only one to trust.